for Coach.
Can you explain the secrets in the dirt motto? Kez wasn't able to exactly describe it.
Yeah, we've got a select few things, within our culture. Kind of want to try to keep the main thing the main thing. Less is more. We don't want 14 slogans around here, but there's some core values, and that's definitely one of them. So a story from that was grew up being a Dallas Cowboy fan, grew up in Irving, basically kind of bicycle ride distance to the old Texas Stadium. Saw Michael Jackson there in concert. There's one for you. So always kind of watch that program from afar, and then certainly my time with Coach Knight, he was personal friends, maybe best friends with Bill Parcells, so had some access and just always kind of followed that team. When we were at Texas Tech, I believe, it might have been Angelo State, but I think it was Texas Tech. Had some players in our team from the Dallas area as well, so got some Cowboy fans in the building. And, so the story goes, obviously I wasn't there, but I've heard this from a lot of credible sources. Jason Witten, one of the best to ever play his position, leader of that team, just a pro's pro, veteran. It's my understanding that when he decided to retire that season, those decisions are made, and he goes his way. Training camp or early training camp started the next season, and then Witten, I guess, was back in the facility to clean out his locker or to see some teammates and stuff. And when the Cowboys learned that he was on campus there, I don't know what it's called. I remember Valley Ranch when I was a kid, but it's not Valley Ranch. It's in Frisco now, I think. But anyway, you can imagine, the players that he played with were excited he was back in the building, and the rookies and new players, you want a chance to meet a legend like that. Again, one of the best to ever play his position, a winner. It's my understanding that he kind of wasn't a big talker, wasn't a big self-promoter, but they really encouraged him to come by and kind of see the team, the new guys. And again, I wasn't in the room. I wish I was. But the story that we've been told through a lot of credible people was, he just kind of stood up and got that instant respect from the guys that he played with, some of the new players on the Cowboys that he played against, and certainly rookies and stuff. There's just respect level, so kind of standing ovation type moment. And Witt didn't have a lot to say, but when he speaks, he means it. And basically, he was just talking about his experience in the National Football League, that it was the elite of the elite, and you had to approach each day with just a fire, a work ethic, a humbleness. And basically his line was, there are no secrets in this league. You got to show up every day, and really the secret's in the dirt. And obviously that means the secret's in the day-to-day work. There are no secrets. And when John Riley and myself heard that story, we cross-referenced it a million times, make sure we were as accurate as possible. And then just immediately that just kind of stuck. It was one of those things that I didn't have to write down, or John didn't have to put in his iPhone. We just, secrets in the dirt, that's big. So we'd always explain to our players that we didn't think there was any secrets. We just got to work every day. You got to stack good days. You got to stack good practices, good games, good years sometimes. So yeah, the secret in the dirt started on that team, and it's something we've used to the present time.
So I'll be the one to ask a weekly update on Elias. How's that process going for him?
Yeah, progressing well. Actually got some good news this week in terms of his academic component, his eligibility. One thing that is a challenge, not just for us at Ole Miss, but around the country, is it's always been a challenge, giving the guys the I-20 so they can get the visas. And I'm not a political guy. I don't know much. Actually, I don't know much at all. But I know that, in today's political climate, what's going on in the world, these I-20s and visas at the different embassies around the country, they've always taken a while. It's always been a stressful time to get your player here as soon as possible. So we have some challenges in that way too. But we're no different than a lot of other teams around the country that are relying on international players. But short answer, it's going well. Elias has done everything he's supposed to do. It's in kind of other people's hands now, but we hope for him to be in Oxford sooner than later. We're hoping he gets here real soon.
What have you seen from Eduardo, the way his game's progressed since he first got here for that kind of half year where he was just here but not not playing?
Yeah, I think I'm on the record many times, talking about Clafkky. He's somebody I really believe in. First of all, what he did last year was really difficult to do. I think if you guys went back and looked at just in our league, all the SEC teams, how many teams in the SEC? Yeah, I should know this. Sometimes I say 14, sometimes I say 16. But, if you go 16 and say each team's got a top 10 players, that's 160 players. And I think Clafkky, you can fact check me on this, but I think he was probably one of about maybe 10 players or so, plus or minus one or two, of freshmen in this league that were really a part of the rotation all year long. So, Clafkky played in every half, in every game. He played in meaningful moments and winning time. He was somebody we really trusted. So on a veteran team, for him to kind of carve out his role, how hard he played, how unselfish he was, he's basically just a guy that really helped us win. I don't think we had the season we had last year, substituting Clafkky for another player. So now the opportunity is to take the next step. And I think there's always two sides of the coin. It's like around here, being one of basically just two returners that played, him and Dia, it's kind of natural for some people to just expect and to anticipate a huge step. And I hope that's the case. And there's one person that's in charge of that fate, and that's Clafkky. But also you have to recognize that he's still a young player. He's got 3 years of eligibility left in college basketball. So it's like he needs to be aggressive. He needs to have high dreams and high goals for himself. He needs to have urgency on a day-to-day basis. And I support that. But he also has to have the discipline and maturity to kind of see long-term here and to run his own race. He's had a good summer. He's had some adversity. He's been banged up a little bit with nickel-dime injuries. They've kept him from all the practices. But he's done a good job getting back on the floor. He's on the floor right now. He'll play in tomorrow's practice. But Clafkky's a guy I have a lot of confidence for. But just got to continue running his own race. And nobody can ever project how this thing works. We've had players in our program before that we were literally talking about maybe redshirting in their best interest, and they became one-and-dones in the NBA draft. We've had other guys that we kind of forecast things might happen a little bit quicker. They end up being 4 or 5 year players. So you just don't know. And I think one of the best things about Clafkky, for the most part, he embraces day-to-day. Tries to live where his feet are, doesn't get too high or too low, which is a challenge for him because he's very, very competitive. The Clafkky that our fans know that plays so hard on game night, he approaches practice like that too. And so, it's just continuing to mature, continuing to get older. But he's certainly a player, if he continues to run his own race, that I have a lot of confidence in.
I'm curious how you approach it with the students coming back pretty soon, but I feel like you're so, I guess you emphasize recruiting the students in a way, and with Club Red, getting the Greek life and stuff involved. What's your philosophy on, I don't know if that's the right phrase, but recruiting students to be engaged? Is that something you start thinking about as soon as they get on campus? Or?
Well, there's different ways to build programs, and everybody does a little bit different. All I can speak for is how we do it. What other people do is none of my business. But we've got, 4 or 5 groups that are really important to us that we work on a daily basis on a 12-month calendar. One of those groups, no group's more important than our student body. We're trying to create a home court advantage in the pavilion. To me, the bloodline of that is always your student section. Season ticket holders seem to show up more when the student section's popping and the team's winning. To me, there's a direct relationship between attendance and environment and winning in college basketball, period. Find me someone that sells out their games and sold out student section, fun place to play, that's not winning. It's very difficult or impossible to find that. Look at the teams in college basketball. They're consistent winners year in, year out. Then something that'll pop up really quick in your study of that will be these people have great attendance. They sell out games. They have a great environment. They've adapted. They've changed. They're cutting edge in terms of game day environment. So that student body is important to us. We work on it all the time, whether it be small groups on campus. Kids are part of associations or clubs or fraternities or sororities, or maybe they work on campus, or maybe they're international students. We try to identify those groups and stay organized. And, simply stated, we're just trying to have a relationship with the students. We're trying to encourage them that basketball, regardless of their past experience with basketball, can be a part of the college experience. I think it's very similar to kind of the SEC football model. each Friday night and each Saturday in that Grove and game, there's a lot of kids that might not have a passion for the sport of football per se, what's going on third down or special teams, but they have a passion for the school. They have a passion for being here and having the college experience, and the football game is part of the college experience. Our thing is basketball can do that too. Both semesters we have games, a lot of exciting opponents this year. So just trying to get a relationship with the students. It's a two-way relationship too. We don't view ourselves as people that are just always asking for you to help us, come to our games, support us. We also try to put a real effort into helping other groups on campus. I'm sure we're not perfect. I'm sure there's some opportunities that we miss, but we pay attention to that, whether it be supporting the other sport teams on campus or the other organizations. It's something important to us. And in the big picture of trying to educate our players to get the most out of this college experience, it's like, this whole deal doesn't revolve around you. So the more our guys can get involved in other areas of campus, I just think that's the coach's responsibility to encourage the guys to do that.
What particularly appealed about Keza when you saw him in the portal, and how important was it to add somebody with NCAA tournament experience?
Yeah, lots of things with Kez. First, it was his maturity, his experience. Kez is a father. He takes that role real seriously. It's the most important thing in his life, period. I got a lot of respect for that. I've got 3 daughters myself, so we shared that bond. I've had some great experience over the years coaching players that are fathers, because a certain maturity level is needed for that. Dre Davis last year, just saw Dre in Vegas, spent some time with him just last week, and so much respect for him, how he balances, being a student, being an athlete, being a great dad last year. So with Kez, a lot of respect just before I ever got a chance to talk to him. I also have tremendous appreciation and respect for his journey. Certainly coming from France, we've got a lot of great players and great staff members from France, so there's a lot of connectors. Kez mentioned too, guys that we had the pleasure to coach. But Kez is a guy that he's just kept working. I mean, he goes to UTEP as a freshman, doesn't quite get in the rotation. Why? UTEP was really good. UTEP had a backcourt that year of future BCS all-conference players. Really good team on that UTEP team. Played in the championship game of their conference tournament. A couple possessions away from March Madness. Joe Golding's the coach of that team, and Joe and I are great friends. I actually used to coach Joe years ago. So what does Kez do when things don't quite work out at UTEP? He doesn't make excuses. He just goes to work, and he chose to go the junior college route to kind of bet on himself, which, again, myself and many staff members and Deuce on this year's team, we understand the sacrifices you make to go to junior college. A lot of respect for those guys. Then he finds a great spot at High Point, and basically I've said it before. This High Point, this wasn't just a mid-major team, a Cinderella. It's a good basketball team. And for 2 years, Kez played on a well-coached, really talented team. In my mind, probably a top 50 team in college basketball. So he's gotten his degree. He wasn't running from anything. He just looked for the next opportunity, like all of us do in life. And so to have him here as an experienced player, a guy that's got a demeanor and a composure about him, we're pleased to have him.
You have any questions for Coach? All right, thanks.
Appreciate it, folks.
Thank you.